do you see any special teams competition in training camp for any of these special team roles? Because I know Robbie Gould is not getting any younger, but I know that his contract is not the best. And we do need a kick and punt returner because we haven't
Yeah.
had one of those in at least 2 or 3 seasons.
I don't think there's going to be a competition for the kicker spot, but for the returner spots, I would freaking hope so. And I don't know if you can really do that competition in practice you haven't seen practice, but when they do special teams, it's never like live action really. It's kind of like the offensive team going through the motions with no opposing team going against them and vice versa. So I would think that if they have a competition for that spot, it would play out in preseason. Now, am I confident that the Niners are actually going to open that spot up to a competition and let Ayuk get some snaps at returner in preseason? No. They're very cautious with players when it comes to that. I have a feeling they have someone penciled in for that job. Although it can't be Richie James, right? Can we go through a process of elimination? It seems like they lost confidence in Richie James last year. And who was the punt returner when the season ended? River Craycraft?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not going to be Richie James. And it's not going to be River Craycraft because I think he was more of like the punt fair catcher than a returner. Sorry, River. Okay, so who could it be? Travis Benjamin. I got a wild card. Ambry Thomas. I just feel like Kyle Shanahan's not going to budge on this Brandon Ayuk thing, and it kind of annoys me. Like he'll use Brandon Ayuk as a returner. Maybe didn't he do it once or twice in a key moment late in the game last year?
I think
in Seattle,
maybe once or twice. Yeah,
once or twice.
most,
so
yeah.
like when he has to, but I think he's going to try to limit it unless you and I go on a campaign starting now. Let Brandon Ayuk cook.
Yes,
because he's going to try out some scrub, pardon my French, and he's not going to be as good as Brandon Ayuk. I think we have to make this a refrain all offseason. Let Brandon Ayuk return the punts because he could win you a game doing that.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was a very good punt returner at Arizona State. I don't know why they wouldn't at least on occasion let him do it just because he was very dynamite at it at that time.
I'm pretty sure he's been returning punts longer than he's been a wide receiver because in high school, he was a DB. Then he went to junior college and got on the field returning punts and kicks. And I think that's how they figured out he was such a playmaker. He just kept scoring touchdowns as a returner. And he did the same thing at Arizona State. So it seems like if you let him return punts, he's going to pop 1 or 2 for touchdowns over the course of the season. You want those. I would like those touchdowns if I were the head coach. I'm just saying.
Yeah, if you can gain 10 to 15 yards on a return, that's getting a free first down. Having to, have Jimmy make some kind of a tough throw that we never expect him to make.
Right.
Or something like that.
Frankly, also, I think 49ers practices are a whole lot more dangerous than returning punts in the NFL.
Yeah.
The injury rate seems to be much higher in a 49ers practice than in the NFL just returning a punt. So maybe you should let him try. I can't remember a punt returner getting hurt. I'm sure it happened. I know Dante Pettis with the kick return last year. But honestly, it seems kind of, if you're a good athlete, everyone's in front of you. There's no one coming from behind. You can see everything. And this guy's certainly athletic enough to avoid defenders in the open field. He proves it with the ball in his hands. I think he can do it. Let's make it happen.
Yep, I agree. Also, they made the kick returns a lot safer, too, without having the wedge and, all those guys having they try to do that to reduce the injury rate.
Can you imagine Deebo Samuel returning kicks, though? Just how fast he would run and how violent the collisions would be. I would love to see it. I feel like we're being cheated every time Deebo Samuel doesn't return a kickoff.
I'm
mad about it. Now that I think about it, I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm going to be mad all day.
Yeah. So,
congrats on the Bucks. What else you want to say?
Well, Drew Holiday's a UCLA alum, so you got to take some pride in that.
I love that guy. Great player.
One last point.
Yes.
With our coaching staff, you and I have talked about it. If any Jimmy supporters want to say, hey, 24-8, that's great, and I can never discount the winning record he has. But you got to see that Jimmy has not progressed since those last starts of 2017, and he keeps getting injured early in the season and rarely comes back.
Well, that's why his record is 8-6 in his last 14 starts. I mean, it's not. He doesn't have the same magic he used to have. He used to be that automatic win, but I don't think that's happening anymore.
No, I don't believe
for a lot of reasons. You just said it. He hasn't improved.
Yeah, to me, that's the most. Injuries aside, that's the thing that kind of gets me the most is they know what his limitations are, and he hasn't worked on at least trying to improve those and make them less weak.
Or if he has worked on them, he hasn't succeeded. One way or the other, it's a results business. And I don't know. I think there's something. Here's what I really think is going on before we get, because I got some people pulled over in cars I need to get to.
Yep.
But I think something happened last season. I mean, he really didn't have confidence, but he got hurt. He played well in that Jets game after he got hurt. Then he left. Then he came back a couple weeks later on a gimpy leg and played awful. Got hurt again. And something weird happened after that. Either he shut himself down or the team shut him down, because it looked like he was good to go the last four weeks or whatever. He was practicing. They were taking pictures of him. He looked decent. And he never played, unlike Jimmy Ward, who came back from a concussion, or George Kittle, who came back from a broken foot, to play in meaningless games. It seemed like that was the early indication that either he was out or the team was out, or what, like the relationship between him and Kyle Shanahan was over. It just seemed like that was a bad sign in retrospect. And honestly, I just, the only reason he's on the team right now is because the replacement ended up not being Matthew Stafford or Deshaun Watson. It's a rookie, and they're just going to kind of slow play it and make sure he's ready. But I just don't. I think I think they already broke up. It almost feels like they already broke up.
Yeah, it just feels like a marriage that's just headed for a big split
eventually. If they didn't, it's like they're separated but in the same house, and one's upstairs and one's downstairs.
Yep. So
kind of, and like not really acknowledging the other person's presence.